So today you're going to focus on texture and detail. Okay, so as you can see here, I've done a little bit more of my shark this week. Okay, so looking at texture, hopefully you've come up with some words and you know what it means now. So it's to describe a surface of an area. Okay, so, or the feeling of an area. So visually in your work, you're going to try and get that across. Okay, you're going to get across the texture. Okay, so looking at my shark, I've done some texture already. Okay, if we have a look at the sort of wrinkles just below the eyes, okay, I've just used line to get some of those in. Okay, if you have a look at the skin underneath, okay, I've done these really light lines, okay, here. Okay, there's some darker bits and lighter bits. And what I'm going to do next is, and you guys can do the same if you're doing a smooth texture, is I'm going to use my cotton bud, okay, to make that really, really smooth. Okay, so it's in contrast to the creases or the wrinkles in the skin above. Okay, other textures I can see are all around the gum line up here. Okay, where the teeth are coming out of the bottom. Now this is quite a tricky texture because there's just basically a lot of shapes that I need to observe first. So a good way to do that is to cover up maybe part of your image, part of your creature image, with a piece of paper or your whiteboard. Okay, so you're not seeing all of it at the same time. Okay, so I've covered up a part here. So let's say I'm doing a little bit of the tooth. Okay, I'm going to make sure that that is drawn in, and then I'm going to have a look at the shapes around it. Okay, so I can see there's darker shapes, I can see there's some smooth lighter shapes. Okay, get that in. So in contrast to that, I might want to blend it with my cotton bud. Okay, the same goes for details. You need to observe really, really carefully. Okay, so I've been doing details and texture as I've been going through with my tone, but it's something that you've got to now think about. It's quite a lot. So you've got 3 things to think about: your tone, your texture, and adding detail. Now another tip about adding detail, there's something called weight of line. Now you'll notice that around my shape of my shark, I've not drawn a really dark outline around the whole thing, because it's not necessarily going to have dark outlines around the whole thing. Some of them are going to be softer lines or lighter lines. Okay, and the same with, for example, some of the shapes around the teeth or gums, okay, or the tongue. It's not going to be dark outlines around every single shape. Okay, so if you have a look here, you can see I've got dark lines, I've also got softer, lighter lines, I might have thicker lines and then lighter lines. So it's going to be the same with all of your shapes that you draw. Okay, it's something called weight of line, and I'll just show you an example on the back of my work. Okay, so a line might be dark, it also might be lighter, okay, and it can change in between. It can have really wide contrasts. Okay, so texture and detail, use your cotton bud to help you. Okay, think about what is suitable. What texture are you trying to get across in your work? How are you going to make them look different? Okay, so you'll notice the textures at the top of my shark's nose, okay, are going to be really different from, say, the ones in the gum, where there's a high contrast between dark and light. Okay, whereas up here there's some really gentle marks that I've had to make, and then I've blended them over the top because they look softer. Okay, so texture and detail, and hopefully your sea creature is going to start to come together. Okay, off you go.